go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. We have him waiting a little bit too long here. From the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Vice President of Football Operations and General Manager, and former Edinburgh Fighting Scot, Jeremy O'Day, joining us. Jeremy, I was just sitting here talking to RP. It was picture day for the team. Could have been a lot worse weather-wise. Probably one of the better pictures weather-wise that you've been involved in October.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky with the weather having pictures this late, but it was it was a nice evening, and they always take a little bit longer than they should, but it was harmless.
You were talking about this, RP.
Yeah, Jo, I remember times out there. I was just telling Barney before we came on that there was days I'd go out there and look at the photographer and say, okay, we're going to have like 4 minutes with these guys until we're going to lose them because it's about minus 12. So yeah. I'm happy you guys got a nice day for it.
We still lost them within 4 minutes, RP, but that's okay. We got done what we needed to.
Awesome.
Bye week. Personally, what does a bye week for Jeremy O'Day look like these days?
This bye week is a little different than most. I mean, it's late in the season, so you're really trying to prepare some stuff for the end of the season. Hopefully we continue to go on a roll here, and it ends the way we want to. And but just really, it gives you the opportunity just to be prepared for kind of season end and kind of go through some odds and ends and kind of clean it up. And a little bit of scouting and a little bit of salary cap stuff that you're working on for this late in the season. And a little time with the family. It was nice that it was over Thanksgiving there. We got some time with the family, which was nice. And so it was a good bye week. Lots of guys stayed and just continued to work, and a couple of guys got home to visit their families as well.
In an ideal world, would you take this bye week late in the season like this, Jeremy, or would you kind of prefer it maybe a little bit earlier?
I think the key is just try to have them spaced out, a nice spacing between them so that you can, get guys healthy. I don't particularly like the bye week right at the end of the season. So this one was nice that it fit up real well with some of the injuries we had, and giving guys an extra week to get healthy and kind of seeing how the rest of the league was going to shake out. So I didn't mind it a couple weeks or a week away from the end of the season. But the key is you don't want to go, too long without having a bye week so you can get some guys some rest.
Jamarcus Hardrick was in co-hosting with me last week. So much fun. I kind of figured it would be from the first time I interviewed him. Just like what a human, what a leader. The stories, what the guy's been through, from growing up and to the pro ranks of football. J.O., like he really wants to play. Like if he could play right now, he would. But he really wants to continue playing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's that type of person. I think this is one of his first injuries he's had that cost him to miss some time, and it's often difficult to go through those challenges when you're hurt and you're down for a bit of time. But he had a pretty substantial injury in his quad, and itching to get back like a lot of guys, and those things just take time. You got to let him heal and get strengthened up, and when the timing's right, he'll be back.
J.O., I'm curious now, after mentioning Hardrick here, obviously he goes down somewhat early in the season. Phil Blake goes down somewhat early in the season there, and there's been lots of shuffling along the O-line. But from my chair, I think they've stood real tall and done a heck of a job this season with all those changes. Talk about a guy like Logan Ferland getting moved to center, and looks like he's doing a heck of a job. You must be pretty happy with that group.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. As you said, we had some injuries there. It's kind of been the theme the last number of years. But, I think this year we lost Hardrick pretty early. Obviously, Philip Blake early, and also Ryan Seaver, who was another guy that was getting some good play time for us here. And guys have just kind of stepped up. You mentioned Logan. Logan's bounced around I think he's played almost every position on the O-line this year and played it at a high level. I'm a little bit biased, but it's not super easy just to jump in there and go to center when you're making all the calls, and when you're used to playing guard or tackle, it is a different change, and now you're worried about the snap instead of just worrying about who you're blocking and making sure your assignments are good. So he's done a great job with that. We were able to add Tate, later in the season there, and he's kind of come in and solidify that tackle while Hardrick's been out. Trevor Reed's been pretty consistent for a rookie at left tackle, and then lots of guys that have jumped in. Peter Godber's been dinged up, but has done a nice job for us. Zach Fry has finally got an opportunity to play and really make the most of it. Noah Zur, they're always doing great, and Brammer's done a nice job for us playing both tackle and guard. So, hats off to our offensive line coach and the job he's done with them. We've kind of been musical chairs there with those guys, but it's a credit to those guys. And it's a little bit different with our offensive coordinator. How plays are called and run plays and play actions, and those also help the offensive line as well.
I've wanted to ask you this, and if maybe you can give us a look behind the curtain, because we've had so many people, message. You know what it's like in Sasky. Everybody's, a general manager has ideas and all that. But how difficult is it for you to make phone calls to try and find guys in this day and age, right? Like, do you have stories where you call guys and they're like, you know what? The game's passed me by. I just, wrote my mortgage broker license, or I just bought a car wash, or I don't know, whatever. And guys are like, I'm not playing the game anymore. Like, how many calls would you make in a summer like this? Like 50?
Well, it's just a matter of, what position you're looking for. So, and it's just not me that would be making the calls. It'd be me and the assistant GMs and former coaches if they coached them. But I would say there'd be a lot more than 50. But, what's interesting with our league is there's a negotiation list, and, a lot of the players that you would reach out to may possibly be on another team's negotiation list. So you have to, make sure you're targeting players that aren't on negotiation list players. They're not playing in any of the other leagues that are going on. And then what's their status in the NFL? Most of the time you're looking for guys that are right there at that bubble. And, guys got to be at that point where they're ready to make the jump to another league. So a lot of it is just trying to feel out to see if they want to still have the opportunity, if they're interested in your league. And then, someone comes down to dollars. If you had a guy that's played in the NFL for a number of years and he's done well for himself, whether he still wants to play at a salary that's reduced from what he's used to. So, if you have an area that you're looking at and you're trying to, you're usually calling, 8, 10, 12 different players in that position, trying to see what their situation is, and then you're kind of regrouping together to see, what's the best fit and who's the best person to bring in at that time. But lots of moving around in your negotiation list, as you can imagine, when you're going through that. But it's kind of constant, to be honest, negotiations, and even in positions that you feel good with, you're still making calls at those positions just to try to make sure you're kind of one step ahead of the injuries if they happen.
Couple here from listeners that sent in. I did screen them, so don't worry. He's saying, when did you first come across Rolan Milligan Jr.?
Well, we signed Roll again, I think it was about 2.5 years ago, and we brought him up actually when our rosters expanded. So we just kind of got through that period where our practice roster expanded. So he came up very late in the season, and we kind of brought him out with the rest of the PR guys, and we do one-on-ones after practice so we can actually take a look at the players in practice and live against our guys. And you could tell with Roland within the first 2 or 3 plays that he was going to be a good player for us. As far as we're scouting him, I think that originally was seen by Kyle Carson with the Colts, and so usually what happens there, if you have a player that you like, we usually reach out to the team and just kind of get some feedback on them. Obviously, we can see how they are on tape, but kind of more so what kind of people they are, what personality, work ethic, those type of things, and we really got kind of glowing report card from Roland and his work ethic and kind of everything that we've seen since he's been here. So he was kind of the rare case that came late in the season after a training camp in the NFL and just kind of made his mark. We actually put him on the roster that year, and he actually made it into the playoffs as well on the roster, which is pretty rare.
Cool. This came across twice, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. But so 2019 is when you become the actual vice president of football operations and general manager. Do you remember your first trade?
Oh boy, I'm not so sure if I do or not. I'm trying to think who it would have been. I'm trying to think when we traded for Alfred. I'm not exactly sure what the first trade would have been.
It's a tough one. Tough one.
Look back.
Yeah, no, and then so another one, a fun one here is someone's asking if you've given any intel to Montreal for this weekend.
No, just I know that they're going to want to play good going into the playoffs. I know they had a tough game this week in BC, so I think that they're going to want to be playing well. They'll have a bye week as well, so I think they want to go into the playoffs playing good football. So hopefully they do and get a win there and give us an opportunity to finish what we want to accomplish and get that first round bye.
J.O., speaking the obvious that you guys' goal this week is to go in and win, there's no doubt, but does it make it just a little bit more challenging knowing that game earlier than you could make your game essentially meaningless in the standings wise, that if Winnipeg does go out there and win, does it just pose any challenges from a roster setup where maybe things could potentially change or in-game potentially change the way you're putting guys out there?
Yeah, certainly you've got to prepare for both scenarios, and what are you able to do if it goes your way? If it doesn't go your way, obviously, if it goes our way, we're full steam ahead. If it doesn't go your way, would you make any changes to who's playing in the game, knowing that the outcome's not going to affect anything in the standings? So we definitely have a plan for that. I think the biggest challenge really is just for the players to have that mindset of, hey, we're just preparing to go win a football game to try to get first place. And you can't let your mind drift thinking, if the game before doesn't go the way we want it, then what's going to change and stuff like that. So we've told the players, prepare if we're going out there to try to get first place. And, whatever happens in the first game, we'll kind of deal with it at that time. From a management standpoint, obviously me and Corey have discussed, the situation that could come up if Winnipeg wins that game, how would that change, and what kind of approach would we want to have? And there's not a ton of time in between the two games, but there's enough.
As a CFL fan, I'm happy that it comes down to the last weekend and the last day. There's some meaningful games. As a Rider fan, I hope Montreal pulls out a W and the stadium will be rocking Saturday night and make that game mean a whole lot for you guys. So I'm wishing you all the best, Joe, as always. Yep. Obviously, we'll all be watching, man. So go finish it out strong.
I appreciate you, RP.
Yeah, right on, Jeremy. Okay, enjoy maybe a little bit of peace and quiet in the last day. Two Monday nighters to watch tonight. Maybe you can kind of kick back and relax. But thanks so much. Job well done, and continued success.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Right on.